Get started with the prayers. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjalashalaakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukhaṁ Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramanandamadavam Krishna Chaitanyamishwaram Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Kauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः. So we are in chapter 10, Krishna's departure to Dwarka, and he has not yet entered Dwarka. So he is departing from Hastinapur, where Yudhishthir Maharaj was ruling. So we saw in the previous chapter, in chapter 9, Bhishma Stuti. So Yudhishthir Maharaj, after he acquired the kingdom, he was not able to rule happily. He had a lot of misgivings within his heart and he sought help. Krishna tried to help him, but then Krishna understood that unless he is instructed by Bhishma Dev, he is not going to feel relieved. So Yudhishthir Maharaj heard the teachings from the grandsire Bhishma Dev. He was enlightened and he returns back to the palace. So in the beginning of the 10th chapter, Shaunaka Muni, he asks Suta Goswami, so did Yudhishthir Maharaj rule well? What happened? How was his rule? And that is when Suta Goswami, he begins to talk about the prosperous kingdom of Yudhishthir Maharaj, how nicely Yudhishthir Maharaj was ruling. The city was very prosperous. The citizens were very, very happy. There was no anxieties, and Mother Nature was cooperating very nicely at the time of Yudhishthir Maharaj's rule. So everything was fine, and Krishna, he stayed back for some time to please his dear sister Subhadra and others. And later, the Lord took permission and he decided to depart towards Dwarka. So he went and he paid his respects to Yudhishthir Maharaj by bowing down at his feet. And of course, he embraces Bhima and Arjun and Nakula Sahadev fall at his feet and take his blessings. Everybody was feeling intense separation from Krishna. All these personalities like Subhadra, Draupadi, Kunti, Uttara, Gandhari, Dhritarashtra, Yuyutsu, Kripacharya, and all of them, they all nearly fainted because it was impossible for them to think about being separated from Krishna. So it was very difficult. And here, Sutta Goswami tells us that when you hear Harikatha itself and Harikatha stops, there is an intense separation from the Lord. Then what to talk about the Pandavas who were associating with him on a day-to-day basis? They were touching him, they were seeing him face to face, they were conversing with him, they were sleeping and eating and dining with him. It would have been so difficult for them. So, like this, all the relatives, they were expressing their extreme anxiety because the Lord was leaving them. Then we start to see about the female relatives. Generally, women in general, we express our emotions more openly. And the female relatives, their eyes, they were filled with tears out of anxiety of separation from Krishna. And they were not able to check their tears. But at the same time, they were trying hard to wipe down their tears because if someone is crying, it is a sign of misfortune. They did not want the Lord to have any misfortune before his travel. So it's a very difficult thing to do, but they were very, with so much willpower, they were trying to check the tears that were automatically flowing from their eyes. So, when Krishna was departing, there were nice mridanga and dhola, nagara, dhundubi, dhunduri, all that were beaten as a mark of a grand send-off party for the Lord. And the ladies, they get up onto the top of the palace, onto the terrace and the balconies of the palace. And we saw how nicely they were trying to catch a glimpse of the Lord. They had so much affection for the Lord. At the same time, they did not compromise on their modesty and shyness. And they were looking at the Lord. And at that time, Arjun, who's also called as Gudakesha, who's a very good friend of the Lord, he holds up an umbrella which had jeweled handles. And Satyaki, he began to fan the Lord. And like this, the Lord was ready to depart on the road. And when he was going like this, the ladies in Kuru, in this land of Kurus, the ladies of Hastinapura, they began to glorify the Lord. So that is where we stopped in the previous class, verse number 20, which was absorbed in the thought of the transcendental qualities of the Lord, who sung by select poetry. So Uttama Shloka, he sung by select poetry. That Lord, uh, he was as he was going, the ladies on the roofs of the houses of Hastinapur, they began to talk about him, of him. And how was the talk? It was better than the hymns of the Vedas. So it was not any ordinary talk. The talk was high quality. They might be appearing like ordinary women who are crying in separation, but the talks, the glorification that they made is better than the greatest of the hymns of the Vedas. It's very pleasing to the heart of the Lord. So let's see their prayers. So this is the prayers of the women of Hastinapur. Very beautiful 10 verses in glorification of Sri Krishna. Chakravarti Pad, he tells us a little secret so that you can all relish these 10 verses nicely. There is a secret to relishing prayers. Prayers is a very, very difficult section of Bhagavatam. In almost every canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, almost every other chapter, you will see prayers. Well, as far as it comes to storyline, we all love listening to stories and it's very relishable. We don't want to miss a single second during Katha. But when it comes to prayers, we get bored very soon. But the best way not to get bored is to understand the relationship between the two people, understand the relationship between the devotee and the Lord. Every devotee has a specific relationship with the Lord. If we understand the kind of relationship they share, then you can start relishing their prayers. Because then it is no longer some dry conversation. It is a conversation between two people who share a unique relationship. So there is a lot of rasa in that. So when we look at prayers as something like a conversation between two intimate people, then the conversation gets very interesting. Okay. So here, even when we saw Bhishma Stuti and Kunti Stuti, we saw how nicely Kunti Maharani was praying to the Lord in the mood of an aunt. And Bhishma in his Veera Rasa, how he was glorifying the Lord. So once we know the characteristics of Bhishma, who Bhishma is, and we understand who the Lord is, and then we see their relationship, we'll be able to appreciate their conversations better. Okay. So keeping that in mind, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur reveals to us about these ladies of Hastinapur. I think I saw chat. If I missed something. Hare Krishna, anyone hearing no Mataji? For me it's good. Okay, clear. Clear audio, Mataji. Audio is good, right? I hope everybody is okay.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Yeah. So Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, he tells us about these ladies. Some of these ladies were in Shanta Rasa. Okay, keep these two rasas in mind. As you're reading the verses, you can identify which are the shlokas which is in Shantaras and which are the shlokas which is in Madhura Bhav. Madhura Bhav aspiring to be the servant of the ladies who are in Madhurya Rasa, both Swakya and Parakya. But Madhura Bhav, they have that Bhav that, oh, how beautiful it is to associate with the Lord as his conjugal lover or as his wife. So these are the two key rasas that is mentioned from verses 21 to 31. And as we read the verses, we can understand how these devotees must have seen the Lord right from the words that are emanating from their mouth. So let's see the first verse, and then you can guess in which rasa they are talking. Okay, so let's see. First verse of prayers of the women of Hastinapur. Another thing I wanted to point out is that throughout Bhagavatam, we already mentioned this, that prayers takes a very key chunk of the number of verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. Prayers is very, very crucial, very important, and it is difficult to relish prayers. But then if we keep this mood, it becomes a little easy. But among the prayers also, you will see a lot of prayers from women, varieties of women. Okay. We just saw in Canto 1 itself the prayers of Kunti Maharani. Kunti Maharani, a very aristocratic lady. She had a personal relationship with Krishna. She was Krishna's aunt. And here you see some common women, common women who are also they are citizens of Hastinapur, very cultured women, but they may not be in direct relationship with Krishna. How they see Krishna. Then, as we move on onto Srimad Bhagavatam, you will see so many women offering fantastic prayers. So that is the beauty of Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam not only highlights prayers by great rishis and munis and some self-realized beings, but Bhagavatam will make you connect with people of our kind. How long can we just keep hearing prayers of great self-realized transcendental souls, right? We don't connect to them because we see them always as being different from us. But when we see people who are very similar to us, we get a lot of inspiration. And not only women, even men also, even animals, what to talk of men and women, even animals like Gajendra Stuti. So, like this, you have prayers offered by different classes of people, and that way a reader can connect to that mood of the prayer. Hmm. So, this is very beautiful. The common women in Hastinapur, how they feel for the Lord. So, and it's not just Madhura Rasa all the time. It is also Shanta Rasa sometimes. Sometimes it's Dasi Rasa. Sometimes it's Vatsalya Rasa. You don't know. But you have to take help of acharyas to figure out how nicely they are praying, and we can take inspiration from each one of them. That is the purpose of studying prayers. So let's see the first one. Savai kilayam purusha puratano yaye kasida viseshatmani agre gunebhyo jagadatmanishvare निमीलितामात्मन्निशि सुप्तशक्तिषु. Can someone please read translation?
Hare Krishna Mataji. A translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. They said, here he is, the original personality of Godhead. As we definitely remember him, he alone existed before the manifested creation of the modes of nature, and in him only, because he is the Supreme Lord, all living beings merge as if sleeping at night, their energy suspended. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you, Parambhavani Mataji. So, what rasa do you think this is?
Mataji, can I try?
Yeah.
Yes. Mataji, it is Santarasa.
Yeah, Shantaras. Why do you think it's Shantaras?
Because it's very philosophical. They are talking about Krishna's true identity rather any specific relationship with him.
Correct. They're talking about the greatness of Krishna, right? How
Yes.
great he is, how he's the creator, how he's the source of everything. Very nice. Thank you, Mataji. Yes. So they call him, here he is. Saha. He's the one who's here, who's walking there. Savai. That person only I remember very nicely. How do they remember? Any thoughts? Why? How they remember him like that to be the supreme personality of Godhead when they see him? They should have read somewhere, no?
Mataji, can I try?
Uh,
Uh, Maybe they knew that Krishna is helping Arjuna in the battlefield. Also, they probably they remember Krishna saving Draupadi.
very well, so cute. That was a good try, actually. Very sweet. It's very rasik also. Yeah, of course, Chakravarti Path says they have read in the works of Vyasadeva, he says. Yeah, they are very well-read ladies. They have heard from Vyasa scriptures that there is a Lord and he's like this and this must be the Lord. Like, but yeah, it's very sweet because like you're getting very personal, right? Because they're also ladies of Hastinapur. They know what happened in Hastinapur. Yes, very nice. Thanks though. Yeah, that was sweet. Anyway, they said, here he is the original personality of Godhead. He is the original Puratana, oldest personality of Godhead. And we definitely remember him. I mean, we understand from the works of what Vyasadeva has written. He alone existed because Vyasa has written, he's the source of everything. He's the one who existed before the manifested creation. He's the creator, destroyer, maintainer. He's the Adi Purusha. He's Jagadatmana. He's Ishvara. So all that they know that there is a God and he's the source of everything, and that God, that source of everything, is this person who's working here. And not only is everything coming from him, but also in the Nishi Sukta, in the inactive night, all living beings merge into the Supreme. True, right? So this is Mahavishnu. All the planets, all the living entities, they're all emanating from him and they all get repose back in Mahavishnu. Now, in the purport, Prabhupada talks about both the destruction at the end of day of Brahma as well as the final destruction. He talks about both. And he says in both cases, it is the Supreme Lord himself in which living entities actually come out from and repose in. So we'll see what Prabhupada says on the purport. So Prabhupada first of all talks about the two kinds of dissolutions. What are the two kinds of dissolution? At the night of Brahma, at the end of every day of Brahma, that is, and also at the end of Brahma's lifetime. So at the end of every, what is this, 4 trillion, 320 million solar years, when Brahma, the Lord of a particular universe, goes to sleep, there is one annihilation. So every day of Brahma, there is an annihilation. It is called as partial annihilation. Similarly, there's another kind of annihilation which happens at the end of Brahma's life, which takes place after 100 years. So in our calculation, it is 8 trillion 640 million into 30 into 12 into 100 solar years. So you can do the math. So And at this time, there is a complete annihilation of the universe in which both the prardhas, that is, both the periods of the material energy, at that time, the material energy, the jiva, the marginal energy, all of them, they merge into the Supreme Lord. Merge means it's not like like the Mayavad merging. The idea is that they all go and sleep in the body of the Supreme Lord. Now, then a question is raised: what during the partial manifestation where they sleep, during the during the partial annihilation where they sleep, and during the complete annihilation where they sleep. So during the partial annihilation, at the end of the day of Brahma, they all repose in Garbhodakshay Vishnu or the Virat Rupa, Virat Purusha. During the final annihilation, that is during the end of the lifetime of Brahma, they all repose in Mahavishnu. Now, what is active during this time, even when they are reposing in Mahavishnu, the ignorance, the layer of ignorance is apparently not removed. That's why, as soon as everything is set back into motion, they are given bodies appropriately and their karmas are injected immediately. Okay. So, everything is set into action by Lord and they come back into this. So here Prabhupada, he continues to say, in the Shruti mantra, it is said that only Vishnu, the Supreme Lord, existed before creation and there was no Brahma or Shiva or any other demigods. So here, the original Vishnu who existed before everything is Mahavishnu, who's lying in the causal ocean. And by his breathing, so many different universes, they are coming into existence. Now, this Mahavishnu, who is he? He is a plenary portion of Sri Krishna. You know this from Brahma Samhita. This is the verse 5.48. Again, everybody, you should already be knowing the verse, but I'll open up the verse. Here. Brahma and the other lords of the mundane worlds appearing from the pores of Mahavishnu remain alive as long as the duration of one exhalation of Mahavishnu. I adore the primeval Lord, Govinda, whose subjective personality is Mahavishnu, the portion of his portion. So basically, even this Mahavishnu, who is the source of these innumerable universes, they are nothing but an expansion of Sri Krishna. So the living entities, after their existence in this material world, they all go and repose into Mahavishnu. So here Prabhupada also means you should remember that when they are sleeping in the body of Mahavishnu, it doesn't mean that the individual living entity is losing his identity. His identity is there. As soon as there is another creation by the will of the Lord, this inactive living beings, they are allowed to take a life, they're allowed to take a body depending on their past activities. So when they are, this is called as Suktotitha Nyaya, or the awakening from sleep and again engaging in one's respective continuous duty. And he gives the analogy, when a man is asleep at night, he forgets himself, he forgets who he is, what his duty is, and so on. But as soon as he wakes up from slumber, immediately he remembers everything that he has to do and he engages in his prescribed activities. Sometimes we sleep so well, when we wake up, we don't know where we are sleeping. Where am I? We think like that. But immediately within a few seconds, we realize, oh, it is already morning. I should go brush my teeth. I should chant. So we get back to our duties. So similarly, the living entities who are remaining merged in Mahavishnu's body during the time of annihilation, they are also there. That layer of ignorance is covering them. But then, the minute they are set into action into this material world, they take up their unfinished work based on their karma that is already set for that living entity. So, but however, we should remember the body of the Lord is always spiritual and there is no difference between him and his body. Before the creation and after the creation, whatever it may be, the Lord is always the absolute. Okay. So this is the first verse that talks about the greatness of the Lord, how he is the original Lord, how everything comes from him. And when everything is suspended. Everybody go and repose in him. And he is the Lord who existed much before the creation, and he is the Lord of the modes of material nature. So that was our first verse. And Tulsigopi Mataji, you had a question, please go ahead, Mataji.
Mataji, I just missed or didn't understand that in the partial annihilation, where do they rest? They don't go in Mahavishnu?
No, they will rest in Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Mataji.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji.
Yes. Yeah. In the night of Brahma, along with Brahma, during his night, they will all repose in Garbhodakshaya Vishnu when he's sleeping. But when the destruction is going on, you know that story, right? Like how from Maharloka, everyone moves to Janaloka, and only 3 planetary systems are getting destroyed. Then when it is time for Brahma to sleep, then all the living entities, they go to Satyaloka, and along with Brahma, they all sleep in the body of Garbhodakshaya. Sometimes it is also mentioned in some verses and purports of Bhagavatam, it is the Virat Purusha. But we should understand Garbhodakshaya Vishnu and Virat Purusha are non-different. It is only an expression of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, this Virat Purusha. Okay.
Okay, Mataji, yeah, that was, I was confused that Virat Purusha is, okay, it can be Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, it's not always necessarily Mahavishnu.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji.
So now let's see the next verse and understand their mood. Sa eva bhuyo nijavirya choditam swajiva mayam prakritim shirkshatam anamarupaatmanirupanaamani vidistamano anusasara shastrakrit. Translation, anybody?
Hare Krishna. The personality of Godhead, again desiring to give names and forms to his parts and parcels, the living entities placed them under the guidance of material nature. By his own potency, material nature is empowered to recreate. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So it's a continuation of the previous verse. So in the previous verse, everybody, he's the source of everything. At the time of destruction, all of us, we go and repose in the body of the Lord. But then when he desires again to give names and forms to his parts and parcels, why should he desire to give names and forms? Why he desires like that? We can sleep there only, right? Any thoughts why he wants us? He wants us to come back. Why should he put us under the guidance?
Mataji, because we came out of him with our own will, and it is our decision to come out of him. So we should decide to get back to him, and
Yeah.
so he gave these opportunities for us.
Yes, correct. He's giving us the opportunity to take a body, to take a form, and then with that body, of course, though we are under the guidance of material nature, eventually we can take up to devotional service using the body. The body is actually a big gift given by the Lord, because with this body we can take up to devotional service and then get back to the Lord. So it's not that he wants to cast us into material energy and make us stay here forever. But his idea is once we get a name and form, which means you can get a gross and subtle body, or you're able to get an identity and a form, that is when you will realize the impact of material nature, and using your body, you will perform devotional service and go back to the Lord. So to perform devotional service and to move on, first and foremost thing, we need a body and some existence. Then only we'll do all this. So it's not that he wants to throw us here and get rid of us. Rather, we have come here, and taking that body, we can advance. Okay, and he is very loving father. And by his own potency, he is making material nature to recreate. So whatever is happening in this world, that is also happening under his direction, every step, every step. So if material nature is able to provide something, that is also by the mercy of the Lord. Yes, Parampamani Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Mataji, and also the living beings need a human body and take birth in this Bhuloka. Then
Correct.
only they can perform devotional service.
Yes, Mataji, that is true. And especially we need a human life. And we need to be born in the Bhuloka. That way the atmosphere is conducive for devotional service. Yes, Mataji.
Gotcha, Mataji.
I think Ramrupa Prabhu also raised hand if you wanted to add something.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Oh, Gaurang Gopal Prabhu, sorry.
Mataji, one question. Like in the higher planets, the devatas, the demigods are doing their prescribed duty. So is it not coming in the category of devotional service? Because it is also under the order of Supreme Personality of Godhead that they are performing their duty.
Yes, Prabhu, it's all about consciousness. Externally, you may be performing any duty, but internally, if your consciousness is purified and you're trying to execute activities in the service of the Lord, there is a very good chance for perfecting and promoting. But only thing is, in the earthly planet, the chances are better because of less enjoyment. That's all, compared to the high realms of enjoyment. But it's not that
Okay.
it can never happen. Yeah, they
Okay,
also
Mataji.
get
Thank
opportunities.
you, Mataji.
So, the living entities, we are parts and parcels of the Lord, all living entities. Now, let's try to connect to Bhagavad Gita, just a little exercise. So, here Prabhupada says the living entities are all parts and parcels of Krishna. So, obviously, if we are parts and parcels of Krishna, Krishna will have some affection for us, right? He won't just cast us into the material world and make us suffer. Now, everybody is dear to the Lord. But there are two varieties of these living entities. Who are the two varieties? The Nitya Mukta and the Nitya Baddha. Nitya Muktas, who are they? They are the eternally liberated souls and they are engaged in nice loving service with the Lord in the eternal abode beyond this mundane creation in the spiritual world. But however, the Nitya Baddha or the eternal conditioned souls, they are the ones who are here entrusted under the external energy Maya. And why are we here? For the rectification of our rebellious attitude towards our Supreme Father. So the Nitya Baddhas, they are eternally forgetful. We are very forgetful of our relationship with the Lord, that we are also His parts and parcels. But whereas the Nitya Muktas, they know their position and they are always on the service of the Lord. Can you remember any Bhagavad Gita verse from chapter 15 that talks about this? These two types of living entities.
Correct.
Please tell us, Mataji. Dvau imau purushau loke ksharakshare eva cha Sharaha sarvani bhutani kutastho aksharam uchyate, right?
Yes, Mataji.
Exactly what Prabhupada is writing here in English. Yeah. So, so these Nitya Baddhas, like us, we are forgetful of that. We are also parts and parcels of Krishna, and we want to enjoy here. We are making our own plans to become happy. But even our plans are actually annihilated. But why is it annihilated? Because the Lord is very merciful. That's why it's annihilated. He annihilates all our plans. It is not needed. And Bhagavad Gita is quoted here 9.7. O son of Kunti, at the end of the millennium, all the living entities merge into my nature. And again, when the time of creation is ripe, I begin creation by the agency of my material energy. So this entire creation process, maintenance, annihilation, everything is happening by the order of the Lord. And the Lord doesn't forget that He is our well-wisher. We have a very, very sweet relationship. But however, in this material world, there is a chance of us forgetting that sweet relationship. So somehow or the other, we get an opportunity in this material world with the help of the body that we have acquired to revive our consciousness. How do we revive our consciousness? When we come in touch with devotees or when we get a chance to read the revealed scriptures. That is also created by the Lord. Devotees are eternal associates of the Lord, or they are great associates of the Lord. And the scriptures, they are also created by the Lord. So when we come in contact with the scriptures that is revealed by the Lord. See how merciful the Lord is. The Lord is giving us a body to perform devotional service. Not only that, He is also giving us the knowledge, the software. Hardware He has given, body. How about the software? He has given all the knowledge to you. How did He give all the knowledge to you? He gave all the knowledge through the Vedic literatures. He didn't tell you go to earth and somehow you manufacture some knowledge and you write your own scripture and you come to me. No, He gave everything from His breathing. That's why in this verse it is mentioned Shastrakrit. Shastrakrit means the compiler of Vedic scripture. The scriptures are coming from His breathing. And Chakravarti Path says something very nice. He says, even before the Lord cast all of us into this material world, when He was exhaling and sending us into this material world, even before that, from His breathing, first the scripture came out. So that as soon as we come to this material world, we have some good backing. We have something to hold on to. So first He was Shastrakrit, then only He created this bubbles that came out from His body as Brahmandas, and then all of us were cast into this material world. Okay, so it's all about taking shelter of scriptures. And he continues to say, where is it? About scriptures, right? I thought I lost what we were reading.
Mataji, two types of living in the first paragraph. No?
Okay, yeah. So he gave us scriptures and revealed scriptures. But however, we are very foolish. Of course, we get diverted. Here, Mataji, I came here. So sometimes we get diverted. And instead of following the scriptures, we get entangled with all these false names and false forms. He has given us a good form and a good name, good identity. But we are after false forms and false names. If you see the verse, it tells us Ananta Rupatmani Rupanamani. Rupatmani Rupanamani. So names and forms, so many varieties of names and forms we are acquiring in this material world. We are holding on to different isms. But however, the scriptures are telling, take lessons from me. And Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam is giving us all the information about Krishna. So Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam is the postgraduate study for one who wants to know Krishna, and Bhagavad Gita is the graduate study, right? So if we have to know about Krishna and if we want to stop the cycle of birth and death, we should take shelter of the scriptures. Krishna Shastrakrit, He has given us the scriptures and then He has put us into this material world. So instead of getting diverted by all this false enjoyment, one should try to take shelter of scriptures and go back to the spiritual world. Okay, so in the first verse, the ladies of Hastinapur, they said how He is the source of everything. He has created us and everything go and repose in Him. But then when there is again recreation, at that time He doesn't leave us. He gives us Namani, Rupani, and not only that, He gives us guidance in the form of scriptures. Okay, so He has never left us at any moment in time. All these two kind of prayers are in Shantarasa. So let's continue and see what they are telling. Savayam yat padamatra surayo jitendriya nirchitamatarishvara pashyanti bhakti Utkalilatmalatmana nano yesha sattvam parimashritum marhati. Anyone wants to read translation?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranam, I can read.
Yes.
Here is the same Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose transcendental form is experienced by the great devotees who are completely cleansed of material consciousness by dint of rigid devotional service and full control of life and the senses. And that is the only way to purify existence. Hare Krishna.
Very good. So now, after relishing His greatness in Shantarasa, slowly there is a shift. If you see in the prayer, they are actually appreciating devotees. they're appreciating devotees and saying these devotees, they have really understood him, understood this transcendental form of the Supreme Lord. How did they understand him? They understood him because of their pure devotional service that they have performed. Okay, so now there is a little more revelation in their hearts because they also want to aspire to know the Lord better, right? So they are looking at live examples in front of them. Who are the ones who know this Lord very nicely? It is devotees. How did they know the Lord? They got to know the Lord through the process of devotional service. So Prabhupada says, it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita that the real nature of the Lord is known only by the dint of pure devotional service. Right? That is also the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Throughout Bhagavad Gita, we see this message again and again. It is only through devotional service you can know me. So many verses are there. Anyone wants to quote any verse that's coming to your mind? I'm sure in every chapter there'll be one
Bhaktya
verse.
mama bijanati.
Yeah. Yeah, one chapter.
भक्त्या स्वानन्य शक्य अहमेवं विदोर्जन
Very
ज्ञातुं
good.
द्रष्टुं च तत्त्वेन think yes Mataji. Last
Very good.
yes
Yoginam api sarvesam
Vaishnav.
mat-
Somehow even I was thinking of that verse. No, okay. Thanks, Prabhu. Yeah. Yes, very nice. Yes. So it is stated in Bhagavad Gita that the real nature of the Lord can be known only by the dint of pure devotional service. So great devotees of the Lord, they are able to experience the Lord as He is by the dint of their pure devotional service. And how did they know the Lord as He is by the pure devotional service? First and foremost thing, these devotees, they are Jitendriya. Jitendriya means one who has full control over senses. How did they develop that control over senses? Because of the formula of Param Drishtva. They engaged all their senses in Krishna consciousness and they became Jitendriya. And because they were Jitendriya, their devotional service matured, and by the process of this pure devotional service, they could experience Hari as He is. Okay. So Prabhupada tells us these senses, they are very active in our body, and it is not possible for you to stop the activities of the senses. So even if you follow different yogic processes, you cannot stop the action of the senses. And he quotes examples from scriptures. Of course, here he quotes Vishwamitra Muni. So Vishwamitra Muni, he was a great yogi. He was able to practice extreme austerities. You all know his story from Ramayana. He went through so much time and again he was tested and he kept failing all the time until he met Lord Ramchandra. So Vishwamitra Muni, he was trying to control his senses by yogic trance, but then hearing the anklets of Menaka, he got diverted. Similarly, we know the story of Shaubhari Muni, right? So it is not easy just trying to artificially control your senses by inferior engagements. So the senses can only be controlled by better engagements, and this is also mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, Param Drishtva Nivartate Vishayami Nivartante Niraharasya Dehinah Rasavacham Rasopyasya. No, what am I telling? Am I saying it right? Param Drishtva Nivartate. Huh?
Yes, Mataji, Param
Oh, Param Drishtva Nivartate. I don't know the last, I said it right? Okay. Okay. So like that, only by engaging your senses on something better, one can actually control one's senses. Otherwise, it will be a total failure, like these great munis who are artificially trying to control their senses. So basically, devotional service is glorified by these ladies. And this devotional service is not some sentiment. It is not inaction. It is perfect action. They are continuously engaging their senses. It is proper action. But then their senses are getting purified, though they are within material nature. So they understand there is nothing beyond Vasudeva. But all this, to come to this point, to accept Vasudeva, Sarvamiti, to come to that point, it takes a lot of time for a jnani. But for a person who's a bhakta, the same concept is accepted from the beginning. From day one, he's engaging his senses in the service of the Lord, and very soon, very soon, he is able to perfect the process of devotional service. So that is why it is mentioned in this purport and also in the verse by the ladies that devotional service is a very easy process to control senses. If you see the verse, it is mentioned here is the same Supreme Lord whose transcendental form is experienced by whom? By great devotees. Okay. How are they experiencing? Because through the process of this devotional service, they are easily able to control their senses. By the dint of the rigid devotional service, full control of life and senses is possible for them. That way they are cleansed, and that is the one and only way to purify existence. So if we also want to purify existence and we want to experience the beautiful form of the Supreme Lord. If you know this form of the Supreme Lord, impersonalists, they cannot experience the form of the Lord. Only devotees can experience the form of the Lord, right? So if one wants to experience the form of the Lord, like these ladies in Hastinapur, they were relishing the beauty of the Lord. They are telling, from their mouth we are hearing, it is possible only if you become a devotee. And a devotee is able to control his senses very nicely. And he is able to purify his existence. So if anyone follows in the footsteps of devotee, then they can also relish the form of the Lord. This is their realization, and they are talking like this. Okay, so let's go to 24. Savavayam sakyanugita satkato vedeshu guhyeshu cha guhyavadibhi yekayisho jagadatmalilaya srijatyavatti attina tatra sajjate. Anyone would like to read translation?
Bhakti, can I read?
Yes.
Oh dear friends, here is that very personality of Godhead whose attractive and confidential pastimes are described in the confidential parts of Vedic literature by its great devotees. It is only He who creates, maintains, and annihilates the material world, and yet remains unaffected.
Vaibhav. Thank you so much for reading so sweetly.
Mhm.
Okay. So, the ladies of Hastinapur, they're telling their friends, oh, dear friends, here is that very supreme personality of Godhead. They're saying, look, he's right here. Who's right here? That person who created everything. He who's the source of everything, from whom universes are emanating, because from whom living entities came into material existence. And at the end of annihilation, they are going and reposing into him, and again they are recreated. Again, they come here, and he's taking care of them in every step. He's giving them scriptures. That Lord, who's the source of everything, and that Lord whom devotees are meditating on, that Lord is right here in front of our eyes in Dwaraka. He's right here. Oh, friends, look, here is that very personality of Godhead. He's come here in front of our eyes, and he's very attractive. They're drinking his beauty, they're seeing his form, they're relishing his form. Only devotees can relish the form. So he's got such an attractive form. And not only that, is it enough if a person has attractive form? What is attracting devotees? Form is definitely attracting, but even more is the confidential pastimes of the Lord. These pastimes of the Lord, they are very attractive. What are we hearing in Harikatha? We are not just hearing the description of the Lord. We are also hearing the beautiful pastimes of the Lord. When you hear Krishna stole butter, Krishna was punished by Mother Yashoda, Krishna chastised Trinavarta, Krishna did this, Krishna did that. That is the attraction that is there in our hearts. So, not only is his form attractive, but his confidential pastimes are attractive. And this is not easily available for everybody, right? They were very lucky that they could see Krishna right here. But if you really want to know about the pastimes of the Lord, it is seen in the confidential parts of the Vedic literatures. Many people don't understand the confidential pastimes of the Lord. In Srimad Bhagavatam, we all have access to Srimad Bhagavatam, how fortunate we are. But there are so many different kinds of practitioners who do not realize the value of the Lord and his pastimes. So his pastimes are glorified in the confidential sections of the Vedic literatures. And it is that person who's creating everything, maintaining everything, ambulating everything. He's coming here, he's performing pastimes. And when he's here, he's the least affected. He's not affected by anything. We are all affected by material conditioning, material nature. But when he comes here, his body, soul, everything is transcendental. There's no difference between body and soul, pretty much. So he always remains transcendental. Vedeshu guhyeshu. Guhya means secret, right? So Vedeshu guhyeshu cha guhyavadibihi. So he is being glorified by the confidential sections of the Vedic literature, and his pastimes are confidential. But then the ladies of Hastinapura, they're thinking, what great fortune. That Lord has come here, he's in front of our eyes. We are able to see him, and we are able to see him perform pastimes. Who will achieve this fortune? Who can get this great fortune? So Prabhupada says, it is stated in Bhagavad Gita that all the Vedic literatures are glorifying Sri Krishna. Vedesha sarve rahameva vedya vedantakrat veda videva chaha. So everything is glorifying Krishna. He is the compiler of Vedas, and even the Vedas are continuously talking only about him. That is what the ladies are confirming here. So the Vedas are explained by many branches and sub-branches by great devotees and empowered incarnations of the Lord like Vyasa, Narada, Shukdev Goswami, Kumaras, Kapila, Prahlad, Janaka, Bali, Yamraj. All of them are great Mahajans. Yes, they all know Krishna, but in the Srimad Bhagavatam, especially the confidential activities of the Lord is described by Shukadev Goswami. So the Vedanta Sutras and the Upanishads that is read by people who may not be great devotees, I mean, who are following other paths, they only read Vedanta Sutras, Upanishads and all that, and they keep speculating. They don't get much about Krishna's pastimes. They only get a hint of the confidential pastimes of the Lord. In the Upanishads, there is a mundane conception of Krishna's existence. But his true identity, his name, form, quality, paraphernalia, all this is present only in scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam, and only devotees get access to this beautiful information. But however, these jnanis, Prabhupada calls them less intelligent people because they're thinking God to be impersonal. They are not able to relish this form of the Lord. They're not able to relish the pastimes of the Lord. But we must always remember the complete understanding of the Supreme Lord is the Bhagavan feature of the Lord. It is not the impersonal Brahman. It's not the Paramatma feature. Rather, it is the Bhagavan feature of the Lord. So the ladies, they are appreciative of this. So they say only the confidential Vedas are talking. Which is the confidential part of the Vedic literature? It is the Srimad Bhagavatam. But the Srimad Bhagavatam actually talks about the beauty, the form, and the pastimes of the Lord. And we are so fortunate that right here in front of our eyes, that source of everything, he's walking here and we are getting a glimpse of him. So this is what the ladies continue to speak about the Lord's presence in Dwaraka. Let's continue and see what else they say. Yada hi adharmena thamodhiyo nripa jivanti tatresha hi satvata khila datte bhogam satyaratam dayamesho bhavaya rupani dahadat yuge yuge. Translation, anyone?
Yes, Mataji. Whenever there are kings and administrators living in the animals in lowest modes of existence, the Lord, in his transcendental form, manifests his supreme power, the truth positive, shows special mercy to the faithful, performs wonderful activities, and manifests various transcendental forms as is necessary in different periods and ages.
Very bold. So, do you think of any Bhagavad Gita verse that is very similar to this?
यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति
Hari bol. Hari bol, very nice. Correct. So now that they are telling, oh, he's right here in front of us, we are able to see him in Dwaraka. They're telling when he incarnates, yeah, he comes like this from time to time. When does he come? Whenever there are kings and administrators living like animals in the lower mode of existence. At that time, when he wants to show his supreme power by his mercy, he comes here and he performs activities like this. And he shows various forms. Now he's come as Krishna. Before that, he has come in various other forms. Depending on the time, place, circumstance, depending on the necessity and the period and the age, he comes in different forms and he performs various pastimes to give pleasure to his devotees and to chastise those who are miscreants. So that is the reason of his descent. So they are continuing to talk about the Lord's presence in this material world. So as mentioned, Prabhupada says, as mentioned about, yes, Parampavani, right?
Mataji, we
Yes.
saw that 1.10.21 is Antaras, and then 1.10.23 the ladies of Hastinapur are appreciating devotional service. So are they turning into the Dasyaras now?
And only two as mentioned by Chakravarti Pajya says only two sets. Here it is, you can understand that they are appreciative of the Lord's descent. They're just glorifying the Lord pretty much. They're glorifying the devotees and they're glorifying them.
Okay.
It's more of appreciation. He doesn't say that there is a gradual transition from one rasa to the other. He talks only of two rasas.
Gotcha, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So Prabhupada says, as mentioned above, the cosmic creation is the property of the Lord, and everything is actually the property of the Lord, right? Everything that belongs, everything of this material world is nothing but the property of the Lord. He says, no one should encroach upon the property of the Supreme Lord, and one should kindly accept what is awarded to him. Where is this from?
Ishopanishad verse 1.
Yes. What is that?
Mataji, Isavasam
Dam Sarva.
Yes, that I forgot.
Yavasam sarvad idam yatkinchit jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjita magrida kasyasvid dhanam.
Hari bol. So one should not encroach upon the property of the Supreme Lord, and one should accept only his quota, right? What is awarded to him. So basically, Prabhupada is telling that everything that is here in this world is nothing but the Lord's property. And we are all his parts and parcels. And everyone has the right to live at the mercy of the Lord and execute our prescribed work. But we should not encroach upon the right of another person. Similarly, a king or an administrator, his job is to be a representative and work and look after the management under the Lord's will. So he should not become such a terrible king that he is living off the blood of others. He should be a just king. So only personalities like this, Yudhishthir Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj, they were great kings. They were living according to these principles. They had full responsibility and knowledge from authorities. They were following the scriptures perfectly. But however, in today's world, most of the kings and administrators, they are living like animals for the sake of their own personal interest. So like this, when we have more and more kings like this, like what it is today, this entire atmosphere will be surcharged with anarchy and vicious elements. So there'll be bribery, nepotism, cheating, aggression, epidemic, famine, war. All this, we are seeing it today also, right? In this time and age with all these different politicians, it's a big mess. But this mess is not enough. When it goes to a point where it is uncontrollable, the Lord will descend. Like we saw how the Lord descended at the time of the Mahabharata war. Anyway, the Lord descends to re-establish principles of religion and vanquish such maladministrators. Even if the Lord doesn't come in person, he will send his empowered associates so that there is some transformation in the hearts of people. All this is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. So basically, the Lord will descend to keep the material world in a normal condition, and so that the devotees can continue to live in a happy condition. They can follow the rules and regulations that is mentioned in the scriptures, and eventually they can make it to the spiritual world. Okay, so Prabhupada says, actually, there is, see, this is interesting. I'll just read this out directly. It's interesting what Prabhupada says. The material world is created only to satisfy the whims of the Nityabadha or everlasting conditioned souls, just as naughty boys are provided with playing cradles. Otherwise, there was no need for material world. But when they become intoxicated with power of material science to exploit the resources unlawfully without the sanction of the Lord, and that also only for their sense gratification, there is necessity for the Lord's incarnation to chastise such rebellious and protect the faithful. So this whole creation is like a place for us, like a little, what is that? You get that kitchen toy, right? So they give this example when a girl wants to cook. She's not allowed into, when a young girl, say a 10-year-old girl, desires to cook. She sees her mother, she wants to cook. She says, okay, today I'm going to cook. And she enters the kitchen. The mother will not give her real things to cook. The mother will not tell her, okay, here is this tomato, here is rasam powder, and here is the tamarind extract. You make rasam now. No, here is fire, switch on the gas. The mother will not do. The mother will give some play equipment and say, you make your own rasam. And then the child will just put some water and put something as tomato and make some concoction and say, this is rasam. Like that, this material world is like a toy for us. Okay. So we are here in this place. We want to enjoy like Krishna. But Krishna is giving us an opportunity. He's just giving us a replica where we can come and enjoy. So that's what Prabhupada says here, that just as naughty boys are provided with playing cradles. So like that is this material world. Why is he doing that? He's doing that so that we can get an, like one of you said, get an opportunity to come here, enjoy, get a feel of it. But then eventually, we have to get rectified. That is the ultimate desire of the Lord. And he creates situations where all the living entities are rectified and we all go back to him. Okay. And Prabhupada talks about the Lord's descent. He comes to chastise such miscreants like Ravana and Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa and others. When he came as Lord Ramchandra, he rectified the activities of Ravana. Ram bridged the Indian Ocean. When he came as Krishna, he killed Kamsa, he killed Putana, Ghasura, Shakatasura, Kalya, and Kamsa. And not only that, he married 16,108 queens and he had so many children. The entire population of the Yadu dynasty was more than 100,000. And he lifted the Govardhan Hill. He lifted the Govardhan Hill. He killed so many kings, and all his activities was asamurdhva. That means it was unparalleled. So this is the nature of the Lord. When it is needed, he will descend. And he can descend in any incarnation, in any form, as it is needed in that particular age. Okay. And he comes basically to protect the pious and annihilate the miscreants. Okay. Nice. So now let's see. Slow.
Mataji, sorry, can I quickly ask? Mataji, what was the meaning of asamurtva?
Unparalleled.
Unparalleled. Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Very well.
Very good. So now we are going to see something interesting what these ladies are telling. Now they spoke about the Lord's descent, right? Now they're going to tell a little bit about the pastimes and where all he performs the pastimes. And the land where he performs the pastimes is highly celebrated. Right? So they will talk a little bit about that before they come to glorify the devotees and Madhuraras. Before that, they will glorify a little bit about the land the Lord comes, the pastimes he performs, and so on. So this is actually one famous verse, one of the famous verses in this particular chapter. Anyone wants to read the Sanskrit? Because I keep reading, I don't ask you all. Anyone? I know you all love to read shlokas, so if anyone wants to read. Yeah, Saudamani Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Aho alam shlagyatamam yadokulam. Aho alam punyatamam madhurvanam. Yadesha pumsam rishabhashriyapati. Swajanmana chankramanena chanchati.
Thank you. Oh, how supremely glorified is the dynasty of King Yadu, and how virtuous is the land of Mathura, where the supreme leader of all living beings, the husband of goddess of fortune, has taken birth and wandered in his childhood. So they are saying, Aho, Aho is a sign of excitement, like being wow, like that. So, Aho alam shlagyatamam yadhukulam. How glorified is this Yadukulam where Krishna took birth? Aho alam punyatamam. Punyatamam. Tamam means topmost. You have tamam, tara, like we say Purusha, Purushatara, Purushatama. Okay. That means topmost, top class. Purushottama, we say, right? That means he's topmost. So Punyathamam, supremely virtuous. Why supremely virtuous? That Madhuvan, that's where the Lord took birth. He took birth there, and what did he do? That husband of goddess of fortune, the Pumsam Rishabha. Rishabha means that bull among men, okay, or the great leader among men. He's Shriyapati, that supreme Lord. What did he do? He was crawling there. Chankramena. So he went crawling slowly, in an orderly fashion. He went crawling in the land of Madhuvana in Mathura. So how glorified is that land? So saying how supremely glorified is the Yadu dynasty where he is taking birth, but more importantly, Punyatamam, the supremely virtuous place is this Madhuvanam. Why is Madhuvanam supremely virtuous? Because that Shriyapati, he took birth there and he wandered around. He started crawling in his childhood in that place. So they are glorifying that land. And it's interesting. They are glorifying the Dwarkavasis. They are glorifying the Mathuravasis. And who are these people? They are Hastinapuravasis. So they know the value of the devotees in both Dwaraka as well as the devotees in Mathura Vrindavan, and the glory of the land of Dwaraka and the land of Mathura. So they are glorifying them. Yes, Parampavani Mataji.
Mataji, Madhuvan here is Mathura and Vrindavan both, or?
That land, that area, Mathura Manda. Okay.
Achha.
In the Bhagavad Gita, the personality of God is Sri Krishna. He has given a description of his transcendental appearance, disappearance, and activities. Janma karma chame divyam evam yoveti tattvataha. And he says that he appears in a particular family or place, and it is by his inconceivable potency. Janma karma chame divyam. So basically, when Krishna takes birth, he doesn't take birth like a conditioned soul. You all know how Krishna took birth from the womb of Devaki, right? He took birth with full ornaments, top to bottom, fully decked. Have you seen any child take birth like that? Have you seen any child taking birth with full hair, with 4 arms, wearing crown, with smile? I mean, yeah, smile. Everyone cries. Anyway, so like this, the supreme birth, his birth is transcendental, and it is like the appearance and disappearance of the sun, which means he just appears and he disappears. The sun, it arises in the eastern horizon, And it doesn't mean that the eastern horizon is the parent of the sun, Prabhupada is telling. So, like that, though he is born from the womb of Devaki, it doesn't mean that Devaki itself is the Lord's mother. The Lord is the source of everything. He is everybody's mother and father. But he likes to take birth from the womb of his devotee. So, like this, the Lord appears and disappears. He appears, he gives sight in one place, he disappears, and he appears in another place. This is the nature of the Lord. And if you understand the transcendental Janma Karma of the Lord, then one can attain liberation. This is what is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita as well. So, his birth, therefore, in the family of King Yadu as the son of Vasudeva, and his transfer into the family of Nanda Maharaj in the land of Mathura are all transcendental arrangements made by the internal potency of the Lord. So this fortune that the people of the Yadu dynasty and the people in the land of Mathura have derived, that cannot be materially estimated. So this is something very, very special. So the Hastinapuravasis, they are thinking, how great is that land and how fortunate are those people who are there. All those who were fortunate enough to associate with the Lord, the husband of goddess of fortune, certainly obtained something more than what is called as liberation. They are extremely fortunate. Therefore, rightly, the dynasty and the land are both ever glorious by the grace of the Lord. It is much beyond liberation because they got the personal association with the Lord. Now, these Hastinapuravasis, these common ladies, they might have not had personal association of the Lord. So they are thinking, oh, how nice are the Yaduvamshis, how nice are the Mathuravasis. They have all had personal association of the Lord. So they're thinking about the different devotees of the Lord who are in close association. But then now comes whom they are targeting. Slowly they are building up the case. First they said devotees in general. Then they spoke about some close devotees, like the people who are his family members. And then the land where he was born, and the people who had the fortune of seeing Krishna crawl in the land of Mathura, and so on. But now they are coming to the real point. They are role models. They are going to reveal whom they want to follow. Now, these verses are in that Madhura Bhav, where they want to follow in the footsteps of the devotees in Madhura Das. And anyone wants to chant this verse, it's also very beautiful. I'll go ahead.
Mataji, I can try.
Go ahead. We are all trying, that's okay.
Aho vata sarva yashas tirashkari kushastali punya yashashkari bhuvah pashanti nityam yad anugrahishitam smita valokam swapatim sayat prajaha. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you, Haribol. Anyone wants to read English?
Mataji, can I also try singing the verse, Mataji?
Sure.
Aho Batasvar Jusa Sasti Raskari Kusastali Punya Yasakari Bhuvaha Pashyanti Nityam Yad Anugrahitam Smitavalokam Swapatim Smayat Prajaha.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so it says, Ahobata, how wonderful, Swa Yashasaha Tiraksari Kushastali. Kushastali is where? Anybody knows? Which is Kushastali?
Mataji, Kusha means grass. I don't know. Maybe it says Dwarka in the synonyms.
Yeah. 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 It is in the synonyms. Yeah, it's Dwaraka. Sorry, I scrolled it down. But Kushasthali was the original name of Dwaraka when this Revati's father, Raivata, he was ruling, right? It was called as Kushasthali. And then later it was in the ocean, and Krishna reclaimed that land from the ocean. Then he constructed Dwaraka. But originally that land was called as Kushasthali. That is the history of Dwaraka. So that's why even to this day, Dwaraka sometimes referred as Kushasthali. Okay. So let's see what the translation is. Undoubtedly, it's wonderful that this Kushasthali or Dwaraka has defeated the glories of the heavenly planets. Dwaraka has defeated the glory of heavenly planets. Is that a good comparison? Chakravarti Pad says, no, it's not a good comparison. What is this heavenly planet? It is something so mundane, and you're comparing Krishna's Dwaraka to Swarga? He says, no, here Swarga means Vaikuntha. Sometimes Swarga is synonymously used with Vaikuntha sometimes. Even in Ramayana also we see that. Sometimes it's mentioned Swarga. But you might be thinking, oh, Ramchandra went to Swarga? No, Ramchandra went to the spiritual world. Swar root word is more, is a place of resplendence basically. So sometimes depending on context, Swarga can also mean Vaikuntha. So here Chakravarti Pad is telling that Dwarka is not compared to some ordinary Swarga of this world. They are telling in this verse, these Hastinapur ladies are telling in this verse that this Dwaraka has defeated the glory of the spiritual world of even Vaikuntha. And it has enhanced the celebrity on the earth. And the inhabitants of Dwarakas, they are always seeing the soul of all living entities, the soul of all beings, Sri Krishna, in his loving feature. And he is giving what? His glance, Smita Avalokam, his sweet smiling glance. He glances at them and favors them with sweet smiles. So imagine the great fortune that the inhabitants of Dwaraka must be having. The Dwaraka itself is more resplendent than Vaikuntha. And the inhabitants of Dwaraka, they are continuously seeing Krishna. And Krishna is constantly glancing at them and having sweet smiles. So much they are getting from Krishna. They are so fortunate. Yeah. Yes. Who's
Ma-
that?
Mataji and Padmini Mats.
Yeah.
Mataji, some information about the Dwarka land that you were mentioning. Can you just elaborate on that a little bit? How it was reclaimed by Krishna?
It was under the ocean for a very long time, and then it was reclaimed by Krishna. But it was called as Kushasthali. I can read maybe some history. I was not prepared for this question. But I'm just
No,
saying from a
Mataji,
vague
because it's
level.
very important. I thought we should get that information.
Definitely, it is important. So it is an ancient name for Dwaraka. And actually, there's a story of how it was an island, and it was under the Emperor Revata or Anartha, who was the grandson of Vaivasvat Manu. He built a city by the name Kushasthali, and he ruled over that place. And then later, you know his story, right? He took his daughter and he wanted to get her married to some suitable man. He went all the way to Brahma's abode, and Brahma said, so many Chaturayugas have passed. Now we are in the 20th cycle. So you go down, Balram is born, and you can get.
Yes, she'll be
So by
very
then
tall
that
and
exactly. So by then that region which he was ruling was already swallowed by the ocean. And
okay.
then when Krishna came, he reclaimed that land from the ocean and he constructed his palaces and he created a city.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So now Prabhupada in the purport, he talks about the heavenly planets first. We can consider when we consider it as a comparison with heavenly planets, he says, heavenly planets are inhabited by demigods like Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Vayu, all of them. And to go there also, it's not easy, right? if you want to go to Indraloka or Chandraloka also, it's not easy. You have to do a lot of you have to acquire a lot of pious credits. Then only you can go there. But however, today modern scientists, they are saying that we'll take a rocket and we'll go everywhere. Prabhupada gives some calculation. He says 6 months on earth is equal to 1 day on the heavenly planets. So if 6 months on earth is just 1 day, then you can imagine the facility of enjoyment that is there. It is proportionately enhanced in the upper planetary systems, and the beauty of the people residents in the upper planetary system is also enhanced so much. So you can imagine how resplendent the higher planetary systems are. And he compares it to the miniature Earth, where we think this is so beautiful, this is so wonderful. But the beauty of the higher planetary systems can easily defeat what is seen on Earth. And then what to talk of Vaikuntha? I'm adding that from Chakravarti Pad's point of view. Then what to talk of Vaikuntha? It is so much more resplendent, right? But then imagine the comparison given here. It says a Dwaraka is much more resplendent than all of that. And Dwaraka, why was it much more resplendent? Because it was ruled by Sri Krishna. Of course, Ugrasen was ruling, but then nobody says Ugrasen was the king of Dwarka. Everybody says Krishna was the king of Dwarka. Though he didn't sit on the throne, he was the king of Dwarka. Right? So, like that, you can imagine the resplendence of this Dwaraka. And it is a very, very important place because the Lord perpetually performs pastimes in these places. And what else does Prabhupada say? So the attractive features and smiles go deep into the heart of everyone. So these ladies, they are telling how nice it is for these Dwarka Vasis. They are able to see the sweet smiles and get glances from the Lord. So Prabhupada is telling us the effect of the smile and the glance of the Lord. The effect of the smile and the glance of the Lord is that it can go deep into our heart. Just like when we go and see deities, what do we expect when we see deities? We just want to get a glance and a smile from the deity, right? So that goes deep into our heart and it cleanses us. So that is the only desire for a devotee, just to get that sidelong glance or a smile from them. So now the Hastinapura Vasis, slowly they have started revealing their hearts. They have come to the point of Dwaraka Vasis. But climax is coming now. So let's get into the climax. Nunam vratasnanahutadineshvara samarchito hi yasya grahita panibhi pibanti asakyadaratmritam muhur vrajastriya sammumuhur yadashaya. So nice. They have named it. They have named their heroes. Who are their heroes? Vrajastriya. They named it. So all this is in Madhura Bhav. Slowly, they have come to this point of revealing what is there in their hearts. Now they're saying, oh friends, just think of his wives. They spoke about Dwarka Vasis, they spoke about Mathura Vasis, but then now they're actually revealing who's the most special. They're telling, think about their wives, whose hands he accepted, what all vows they must have undergone. What all baths, sacrifices, fire sacrifices, perfect worship of the Lord, all this they had to do to relish the kissing of the lips of the Lord. And then imagine if the Dwaraka queens are so special, if they are so important and they are so special and they have done so much to get the Lord, then what to talk about the damsels of Brajabhumi? They would just faint expecting such favors. So these are the topmost devotees. And they are thinking, as ladies, they are able to relate to this. Who are the topmost devotees of the Lord? It is the Brajagopis. Yes, the Dwarka queens are there, Swakiras is there, but then the Parakiras of the Gopis is the topmost. So they name them, they name their role models. Now, Prabhupada, he talks a little bit about these different kinds of devotees, the Dwarka queens as well as the Brajvasis, the ladies in Braj. So first of all, in this verse, we saw about how these wives, they have undergone religious vows and baths and fire sacrifices. So to talk about it, Prabhupada says these religious rites that is prescribed in scriptures, they are meant to purify us of mundane qualities, and so that we can gradually get promoted to the stage of rendering pure devotional service. And that time, as we are slowly getting purified, we attain some perfection. And the perfection stage is called a Swarupa, or the actual identity of the living being. Liberation means renovation of the stage of Swarupa. So that means revealing our true identity. Okay, that is actually liberation. Now, in that perfect stage of Swarupa, the living being is established in 5 phases of loving services. What are those 5 phases? You all know the different rasas. The Madhurya rasa, which is the humor of conjugal love, and the others also, you know, the Dasya, Sakya, Madhurya, Vatsalya, and Shantarasa. So, like this, there are different phases of loving reciprocation with the Lord. And when it comes to Madhurya Rasa, we should know that there is Swakya and Parakya. Swakya means to think the Lord as your own husband, and Parakya is the mood of the Brajagopis who were conjugal lovers of the Lord when he was unmarried. And which is greater? The Parakya rasa is sweeter and it is greater. Okay. So these girls, they were topmost, more advanced than the queens who had undergone severe penances. They were simple cowherd girls, and they were able to get the Lord under their control. So that is the beauty of Parakya Rasa. So these young girlfriends of the Lord, they saw the Lord as their fiancé, and we should understand that this is not some perverted love affair of this material world. Otherwise, great souls like Shukadev Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and others wouldn't be talking about Gopi Geet and glorifying these gopis. So all this is earned after many, many lives of severe penance. So this is the topmost perfection that the Hastinapur Vasis are talking about. And they're telling how great are those devotees. And they are in their heart, they are aspiring to follow in the footsteps of the Brajagopis. So this is their hidden desire. Okay, so that was the pinnacle of their desire that they reveal, and they think about the Brajagopis. And they continue to talk about Krishna's interactions with all the ladies. Okay, with all the ladies, not only the queens and the Brajagopis, they continue to say about his marriage with all the 16,108 queens. So, yes, Mataji. Veladananda Prabhu.
Dhanvat Pranam Mata. There is a very beautiful slok in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu about Gopi, how, you know, she came to Vrindavan, she was newly married, never seen Lord Sri Krishna. And then another Gopi tells her, don't go and see Lord Sri Krishna who's standing at Kesi Ghat. Very beautiful. Smeram Bhangita Parijitam Sachi Vishnu Drashti. Don't go and see because he's standing there and you will forget all your loved ones and you that's a nice slok. I just wanted to share, Mata.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, don't go that side near the banks of the river Yamuna if you really want to yeah, stay in family life. Once you go there, you'll forget everything and you lose your heart there. Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. Okay. And then they continue. This is the last of their glorification. They finish with glorifying all the other ladies. They says, yeah, someone else, I saw one more hand raised. I don't see the name. Parampavani, did you raise your hand again?
Yes, Mataji, but I can go after you finish this verse.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Mataji, I wanted to mention that verse that from Chaitanya Charitamrita that Radha Krishna Eka Atman Dvi Dehadhari Ananya Vilasi Rasa Aswadana Kari. Like all the Braja Gopis and everyone, like their expansion of Radharani, and Radharani himself, herself, the expansion of Krishna. So,
Very good.
so the Parakya, Krishna wanted to test the Parakya ras. That's why he expanded even. That's why in this world, whoever thinks that thinks this in a perverted way, they don't understand this like Kushotam matter of Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Very good. Thank you, Mataji. Very nice. Thank you. Okay. यवीर्यशुल्केन हृता स्वयंवरे प्रमथ्य चैद्य परमं मुखान्हि सुषुम्नया प्रद्युम्न साम्बाम्बसुतादयो अपार याश्चाहृतभौमवदे सहस्रशः. So they continue to talk about all the ladies, okay? Everybody. They are all great, they say. The children of all these ladies are Pradyumna, Samba, Amba, etc. Who are the ladies? Ladies like Rukmini, Satyabhama, and Jambavati. They were all forcibly taken by him from their Swayamvar ceremonies after he defeated many powerful kings headed by Shishupal. And all the other ladies were forcibly taken by him after he killed Bhaumasura, who's Narakasur, and thousands of his assistants. All these ladies are glorious. Okay. So they not only glorified the queens in general and specifically the Vraja Gopis, but they said, okay, yes, all of them, any of these ladies who are the mothers of these great heroes like Pradyumna, Samba, and Amba. Amba, I was looking up, is Nagnajiti's son, apparently. And ladies like Rukmini, Satyabhama, Jambavati, they were all taken away from their Swayamvar ceremony. Virya Shulka. Virya Shulka means just like Varadakshina. You all know what Varadakshina is, right? So basically, when the girl is getting married, they are giving lots of wealth and things like that for the groom. But in those days, Varadakshina, more than Varadakshina, today's fashion is Varadakshina. In ancient times, the policy was first you give Virya Shulka. Virya Shulka means by your prowess you win the girl. Show your prowess. That is the payment you make to get a girl. Just going and eating bhaji bonda doesn't make you qualified to become a groom. You should show by your prowess what sort of groom you are. Then only you will get the girl along with gifts like that. That was the tradition in those days. So here, Virya Shulkena, Rita Swayamvare. So many of them, they were taken in Swayamvar after Krishna showing his great prowess. And he defeated many.
Mataji, the where is given. Actually, Satyabhama and Jambavati were given by them. It was not taken away, right, Mataji?
But
Only Rukmini Mataji.
But his prowess was shown though. Actually, he was defeated, na, this Satrajita. I mean, like, you know that story, that big.
Satyabhama was given because he gave the Chamantakamani and he brought it back, and then he felt guilty, and then he gave his the daughter. Similarly, Jambavan realized that he's a supreme god himself, and again associated with Chamantakamani, he was also given by Jambavan to him. It's no, I was a little confused because they were forcibly taken. I thought Rukmani only
Rukmini was forcibly taken. Not only Rukmini, even Nagnajiti also, I think, was forcibly taken. Some of them were forcibly, some of them were forcibly taken. But some of them were, Virya Shulka was displayed and they were taken. Yeah, so it is a combination of many things. In some cases, some kings were killed and then they were taken.
Even the last 108, they were also not forcibly taken. They opted to be with Krishna, and so he married him, right, Mataji? The
Correct.
other
In the
ladies were,
purport, correct. In the purport also Prabhupada clarifies that.
yeah,
Forcibly
yeah.
taken means what? They were under the control of another man's thing in his jail or in his control, and he was killed, and they were taken by them. That is the spirit in which you have to take it. Of course, the word to word will not say forcibly, but it is for our understanding. It is to show the glory of the Lord, that the Lord was able to take them like that. So, yeah, so here, Purport Prabhupada will clarify all of that. He says, exceptionally qualified daughters of powerful kings, they could have Swayamvar ceremonies. And in these Swayamvar ceremonies, they could choose their own bridegroom. And the father of the princess will invite different grooms from various places. And sometimes there would be fights between the different grooms. So in the marriage, that was common to see fighting, and whoever was victorious, they would get the princess. So like that, Rukmini, who's the principal queen of Krishna, was the daughter of the king of Vidarbha. She actually was a very qualified, beautiful daughter of this Vidarbha king, and she was given away to Krishna. Actually, her elder brother Rukmi wanted to give her away to Shishupal, who also happened to be a cousin of Krishna. But then there was an open competition there. So Krishna and Shishupal, there was a fight, and immediately Krishna took away Rukmini, and they went away from there. And Rukmini had 10 sons like Pradyumna and others. And there were so many other queens that were taken away by Krishna in a similar way. Okay. Now there were 16,100 beautiful daughters who were of different kings who were forcibly stolen by Bhaumasura. And Bhaumasura had kept them captive for a while. And these girls, they prayed very piteously for their deliverance to the Lord. And the Lord, hearing their prayer, he went and fought with Bhaumasura, killed him, and the ladies who were in captive were all released after forcibly subduing these miscreants. And the Lord accepted all of them as his wives. So, like this, their name was actually corrected. In the estimation of society, they were fallen girls because they were held captive by another man. But then Lord Krishna, he could understand the prayers of these girls and he accepted all of them as their queens. So, like that, Krishna had 16,108. He had 8 important queens, Mahishis, the chief queens. So, total of 16,108 queens in Dwaraka. And he got 10 children with each of them. So, like this, these children grew up and they had many children. Like this, more than we saw the count of the Yadu dynasty, some 100,000 or something. Like that, the total number of family members increased to millions in the Yadu dynasty. So this is about the women talking about what's time. I just forgot keeping track of time. I'm so sorry. So like this, finally the women, they finish their prayers to the Lord, but then how did the Lord reciprocate to their prayers? I will just say this, but then we'll do the verse nicely. On Thursday, I will do this verse nicely, but I'll just tell about the Lord's reciprocation because I don't want you to go without hearing how the Lord reciprocated. Oh, sorry, there is one more verse. 31 is there, no? We'll do 31 onwards next week. I don't want to hold any 30 onwards next week. Last one is still there. Yeah. Okay, from 30 we'll do next on Thursday. Sorry. We'll end here. Sorry for keeping you all. Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji and Prabhuji. We'll continue from 30 in our next class.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Very good. Yeah, I was thinking time is not over. Yeah, we'll meet next Thursday and this Thursday, and we'll finish verse 30 to 36. Vanchakalpatarubhishta. Yes, Praladananda.
Dandrat Pranam Mataji. I just wanted to add Chanakya Pandit's quotation in Sridhar Maharaj commentary is there. It says, Pita rakshati kaumare, Bharta rakshati yauvane, Suta rakshati vardhakye na swatantram hi yoshitam. The woman is never given independence. She is Rakshati by Pita when she was young, and then Bharta Rakshati Yauvane. The husband protects her. And then she becomes widow. Suta Rakshati, that the sons will take care of her. न स्वातंत्रम ही उयोसिताम इति चाणक्योक्तः है स्त्रीणाम स्वातंत्रम अभावो अस्ति. That's what I just wanted to add
So
about
you want to
Vedic culture. Yes. Thank you, Mata. Haribo.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Prabhu. Very well, dear. Vatsya kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu
Patitanam
Pranam
pavanebhyo
Pavanebhyo
Vaishnavibhyo
Vaishnavibhyo
namo
Namo
namaha.
Namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai,
Govinda
Shri
ki
Jai.
jai.
Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, dear devotees, for patiently staying back. Hari Bol.
Priti Vilasani Mata ki jai.
Jai. Thank
Jai
you
Shri
so much,
Prabhupada.
Mataji. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji. Hare Krishna.